Hi, my name is Nils Naujoks and I'm a professional sim racer for G2 Esports. Overall, there's huge debate in sim racing whether or not hardware can make you faster. I don't think in particular if you have the talent, the hardware will make you shine or put you at the back of the field. In the past 2 decades, sim racing equipment has made a major leap. Of course, we were taking deeper takes onto pedals, racing wheels, PCs and of course monitors as well. In particular, the monitor in sim racing is like one of the few connections you have to the car. Everything is perceived visually in the first place, and therefore it's really important to have high frame rates, low response rates of the monitor, because this gives you a competitive advantage in the end and makes it easier for you to perceive what the car is doing.
The inside of Coates.
Martin gets too heavily involved.
And that's Whitehead and Coates.
Hi everybody, good morning, how are you all? Hope you're well. We are at virtual Silverstone for the latest round in the Mini Challenge eSeries, the first one of 2021. Don't forget you can catch up with us via social media, hashtag Mini Challenge eSeries. We've already got some messages coming through. Richard John Neal here with Lydia Walmsley, race winner from the Mini Coopers. Lydia, good morning, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Are you looking forward to your commentary debut?
Yeah, very much so. I think everyone's missing being away from the circuit, so this is a pretty good substitute, so really looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it too. Have you raced on Silverstone National? I can't remember. I can't remember the mini schedules that you've been involved in, and also the Sax Max.
Yeah, I have. A couple of years ago, I haven't raced here for a couple of years, but love Silverstone. It's the home of British motorsport, isn't it? It's so prestigious. So yeah, very much looking forward to it. Excellent, that's good news. So as ever, the format for today, they've had 60 minutes, or in the middle of 60 minutes of practice at the moment. Qualifying 15 minutes will kick off at 10 o'clock, and then two 20-minute races. The race 2 grid, true mini style being decided, the grid being decided by the top 12 reverse. The track length 1.639 miles. The two guys who are going to be busy in the week, Andy Ringland and Rich Hayden. Andy Clark, of course, and race director Rich Hayden. Our broadcast director today is Mike Yout, who, as ever, is in charge of everything technical. Literally all we do is kind of plug in, and Mike does all the hard work, making sure that you can hear us. And aside from internet dropping out, he's really in charge of everything. And I make that caveat because I did have my internet drop out last week, which I apologise for. Here's the schedule, and Lydia, by the way, is worried sick in case things disappear. It's not going to, Lydia. I promise you, it's not going to. I hope not. you better not go anywhere.
Should be okay. I've done everything Mike suggested to make sure that the link is okay. It is the standard format that we come to know and love. Here's a quick look. We've only got 2 weekends left after this weekend. Where is the 8 weeks gone? You know, we'll be back out and about soon before you know it, which will be good. We're on the international loop next weekend, which we're looking forward to as well, and then Brands Hatch GP to wrap things up. And who knows, we may well have an autumn championship again. It'll be good if we can do, if the season gets completed. The key thing, of course, is all about points and prizes, and Dave Marshall leads the overall championship. He's the top sim lad. Mike Epps P2 in the championship in the separate class for real world drivers. Jack Mack third overall and second in the sims. Third in the sims is Jordan Brennan, looking to close down on him. And then Max Edmondson, that's the subject of some social media feeds already. Got Bod Cole and Jeff Edmondson wishing Max well for this weekend. And then following them, Max Coates in 6th place. We just had a quick word with Max. Apparently his camera's not working today, so we're not going to get the badly lit shot of him in his sim today. And so remember, the top prize, the top sim driver gets a real world drive. Dave Marshall already got one in the bank, and he's looking to grab another one here. Jack McIntyre going to close him down on that one, and the top real world drivers get sim equipment courtesy of VRRC and of course our other sponsors as well. So all to play for as we come to Silverstone. It was, to be fair, a busy week for Rich Hayden and Andy Ringland following the Knockhill rounds last week. I'm not going to go into individual judicials, but all you viewers need to know is that any incident on track is taken very seriously. Penalty points are given out, and there are result penalties, exactly as you have in the real world. And that's the whole point of coming into this championship, to as closely as we can, right the way through the judicials. Chris Hall says, "Good luck, Max Candle Coates," and Chris has caught up with the nickname Candles Coates. That's pretty good. Dan Gow says, "Come on, Alfie." I think it's Alfie Glennie. He made a bit of progress with us last time out at the second race at Knockhill. Michelle Dunn says, "Good luck to Jordan Brennan, Juggy Bear," and several other people coming in. Joe Bayliss saying, "Good luck, Simon." I think Simon Tugger Reed. And he's saying, "Send it." So Simon Reed can get up in the points today. That will be good to see. Now, Lydia, I guess you've watched a couple of races through. Who's your money on today?
Well, I think, the top two, Dave Marshall and Mike Epps, they seem to be sort of running away with it, but fairly dominating it at the moment. Obviously, Dave Marshall was the champion last year, so I think those two are definitely the ones to watch out for.
Yeah, I'd agree with that one. And Dave Marshall, it doesn't matter what you throw up against him, he seems to just keep coming back. And we're all looking forward to seeing him having his real-world racing as well. Jordan Brennan has got the support of Lewis Brown, who was back with us last week. Lewis, of course, a JCW driver with the Lawrence Davey team. So Lewis has thrown his hat into the ring supporting Juggy Bear. And Bradley Gravitt Racing says, go on, Alfie Glennie. Bradley Gravitt, good to have you here. Good to see you tuning in via social media. So it'd be good to see Bradley having a go at this, actually, at some point. Maybe a guest driver, if he's got the kit. But, of course, another driver that we got to know over the course of last season, racing in Mini Challenge for real. Dave Marshall with 11-point cushion at the moment. Max Bird says, good luck, Damien Hall. Damien, our Death in Paradise policeman, the copper piston from Barbados, looking to get up into the points again. And Gemma Lambert. Gemma's been with us several times. There is the copper piston on the inset, 4 hours ahead of us. So 4 hours and 4 hours time difference for him. So very early in the morning for him. He had some damage last time out. Gemma Lambert says, be good to see Lambert get some points today. And I need to apologise to Liam Lambert, because the Lux Motorsport driver, I think last week, there's no think about it, I did actually say he was one of the Cooper drivers. He's a JCW driver. Well, where the hell did I get that from? Just talking off the top of my head. So apologies, Liam Lambert, JCW driver, and gaining experience this year for the Real World JCW Championship as well. He was very, very quick on his debut, you might remember, towards the end of last year. Silverstone circuit, though, Lydia, before we get our hot lap, favourite parts of the track?
Well, I'd probably say Brooklands and Luffield. It's great for overtaking. I think it's one of the best places to take your competitors by surprise and lunge it up the inside. But you can also get the cut back out of Luffield. So yeah, probably that section. But you've got
a Lydia lunge.
A Lydia lunge, yeah. No, you got to take the competitors by surprise, and that's probably the best place on the circuit to do so, because it's the hardest place that you really touch the brake, I guess.
Okay, thanks for that. We're certainly going to have a load of action. This is one of my favourite tracks, actually, that we race on. A lot of people say that Silverstone's flat and boring. Oh, Lawrence Davies around as well. Lawrence Davies, good luck, Jordan Brennan from Lawrence, the LDR tuning man. Good to have Lawrence watching us. And, of course, he's one of his new charges was commentating with us last week, Ronan Pearson. So he's looking forward to working with Lawrence. I think only a week away from their first test now, which is good to have. If you've got any questions for Lydia Walmsley as well, you can pop those through the hashtag Mini Challenge eSeries, and we'll, assuming I remember to write them down, if they disappear off the screen, we'll ask Lydia those questions as well as we head towards the first qualifying session, or the qualifying session. But before that, we have a youngster by the name of Matt Richards, one of the front runners in the championship. Here is Matt with his hot lap of Silverstone National.
Hi guys, I'm Matt Richards, driver of the 44 Zanshow SimSport Mini, and today we're going to be doing a hot lap around Silverstone National. So to start the lap, you want to take a nice wide line through Luffield to get the maximum exit speed that you can to give you a decent run up to the start-finish line. Just before the start-finish line, you want to be tight to the left-hand line coming into the bridge. At the change of tarmac, a light brake down to 5th gear, letting the car rotate into the inside curve, and then on the exit allowing the car to free up to the exit curve as quick as possible. Turning in from maggots at the bridge, a heavy brake down to 3rd gear, keeping it tight to the right hand curve, and on the exit allowing the car to run out to the left hand curve with as free exit as possible to keep a good run down the club straight. Across the club straight, you want to gradually move back over to the right hand side whilst you start looking for your braking point for Brooklands. There's a slight change in the rubber line down to 3rd gear, keeping it tight to the left hand curve and getting as straight as exit as possible to Luffield. Into Luffield, you take a first bite of the curb, slightly miss the middle, and take another bite as you come to the exit. On the exit, freeing the car up to the exit curb and keeping the car pinned through woodcut, taking as much curb as possible and allowing the car to gradually move over to finish the lap.
Thanks very much to Matt Richards for doing our hot lap. The thing when you're watching that, Lydia, is that that part of the track that you were talking about, you know, going into left-hander at Brooklands and then round into Luffield, when you got a sort of solo lap from somebody, I was almost expecting a little punt or a Lydia lunge up the side, but there wasn't anybody there to do it. But you do expect that. It's such an exciting place on the track.
Definitely, and when the grid is so close, or is as close as it is, and there's so many cars on track at once, you've got to expect someone lunging at the inside. But also, as soon as one comes, it seems to be a train, because the nature of the Silverstone National Circuit is that they're mostly all right-handed bends. So once someone's up the inside of Luffield, they're probably most of the field is coming through by the time you get to turn one. So you definitely got to try and cover that inside line if someone looks like they're going to overtake.
Yeah, it's a key place, and as I say, one of my favourite rounds of the season, Silverstone. It's going to be, I think, a little bit weird this year. I always make a habit of going into the media centre on the Saturday and watching qualifying from around there, because you've got all the other journos that you can normally talk to and watch the cars coming off that last turn as they cross the line. And funny enough, the thing that burns in the memory is watching Super Cup cars there. I don't think Super Cup are there this year, which is going to be a little bit odd, but we'll have Jeanette challenge. Great to be getting. Actually, I got a message through yesterday. There's Jack Noller. Great inset. I think it's the first time we've had Jack on the inset. Well, Mike tells me we've had him before, so what do I know? I haven't got a scoop. Jack Noller studying motorsport engineering at uni. It's a big challenge for everybody at the moment, of course, studying from home, and only his second series in Assetto Corsa. And Jack at the moment top of the stack, which is good to see. And looking pretty calm about things at the moment, Lydia, and I guess you have to try and get into a little bit of a calm rhythm in qualifying.
Definitely, yeah, you've got to try and block out everyone else. I guess everyone will be trying to get their laps in early on. But yeah, just trying to get into your own rhythm, try not to have too much traffic in front, because that can hold you up. But you've got to have someone to chase. I guess Silverstone isn't too huge for the tow, especially on the national circuit. So trying to get a tow off someone isn't quite as crucial as it would be if you were at Thruxton, for example. So yeah, just trying to get into a rhythm and put some laps together and get the sector times right.
You're a family-run team, so do you ever sort of buddy up with anybody else at all at any of the tracks? And you know, who would you do that with if you did, or are you largely coping on your own?
Yeah, usually we're on our own really. When there's the teams like Accelerate and Graves, they seem to do really well at Thruxton because all their cars were working together. But I was sort of on my own trying to get a lucky tow off of someone, and no one particularly wants to give you a tow if they know you're behind. So yeah, just trying to make the best of a bad situation really when you're at somewhere like Thruxton where the tow is so crucial. But obviously when you get to the race, everyone's on their own then, so it's not quite as crucial, and you can try and move through the pack.
There's Josh Martin. You've raced with Josh?
Yeah. Josh was in the AM class when I was in the pros, but yeah, he was doing really well then and seems to be doing really well in this eSeries as well. So looking forward to seeing how he's just gone to fourth on the standings, so doing really well there.
Yeah, having a little bit of a sort out, aren't they, on the times at the moment, and using the Oculus VR goggles that you could see briefly on the inset as we go to Isaac Smith, another front runner in Didn't Isaac have a big smash here in JCW last year? I can't remember. There was a couple of drivers involved. It's a very nasty looking incident coming out of, or going down towards Maggots in the early stages of last year's race, which I seem to remember. We won't get that today. We might get a virtual shunt, but we won't get anybody hurt, hopefully.
It's not going to be hurting anyone's pockets either, is it?
No, that's the thing. You know, it's a big ask, isn't it? You know, and a crunch can be so debilitating, can't it, budget-wise, in the real world?
Definitely, yeah. It can ruin a season if it's a good enough one. If you've tried hard enough with your crash, it can ruin a season. So, yeah, I guess that's a benefit of these eSeries. You can just press the reset button and go again, which is always good.
When I was chatting with Dave Marshall after we won the last series, we did a couple of interviews and chats, and you know, he was looking forward to having a round last year, which, as we know, he deferred to this year, and he very kindly sort of told me late on in the year that he wasn't going to take the drive, he was going to carry it forward, which was again great stuff for Anthony Williams moving across for this year, the Mini Championship director for him. And he was just saying how expensive, he said, I didn't realise how expensive making the move was. It's not just a question of buying a car and going racing, there's so much more that you have to put together.
Absolutely, yeah. I think often you get given a figure, but you have to add so much on top of that. I mean, even, you know, team fees and actually getting to the circuit itself. If you're travelling up to Knockhill when you're from down south, even that is an expense that you probably don't particularly think of at the time, accommodation and things like that. So it's not just getting the car to the track, but it's all the additional extras that people don't seem to think about. But it does all add up, and yeah, it is quite a costly sport to try and involve yourself in.
Talking about that, it would be remiss of me if I didn't ask how things are going, and I'm guessing you're working on something for this year at the moment?
Doing our best. I raced Coopers last year, but my Cooper was sold a couple of weeks ago, so trying to move on. But, you know, this COVID situation certainly isn't speeding up plans. Just trying to piece things together and get something ready for the start of the season.
If you didn't get out, I mean, you've got a bit of a profile now, having taken the race win at Snetterton in the finale at the 29, and done so well in front of our TV cameras on ITV this year. You've got that profile, and you know it's not going to hurt, is it, to take a break if you have to do that? I know you don't want to, but
yeah, I shouldn't think it'll come to that. We're trying our best and trying to piece something together. Obviously, it's not easy, but every driver goes through the same thing over the winter period, trying to get their budget sorted. Just doing our best and trying to make the best of the situation we're in at the moment. I'm sure we'll piece something together somehow.
Who bought the car, by the way?
Someone that's just going to test it this year. I don't think it's going to be raced this year, so we won't be seeing it on our TV screens. But I think it should be making an appearance next year. Fingers crossed. I'd love to see it on the track.
You've been very diplomatic, not saying who it is.
No, I don't think he wants it released.
It always amazes me the drivers. I do a little bit of. Well, I used to do a little bit of PR for one of the short oval formers, and a car would get sold, and I'd get really excited that we were going to have a new driver on the grid. You go and say, right, you know, I want to put something out. And no, don't mention it. Don't mention it. People are very, very protective, and it's their information, so they have a right to do that.
Yeah, they've got to release it first, haven't they? And shout about it. So yeah, looking forward to seeing it on the grid maybe next year.
That would be good. That would be good to see. A little bit more social media coming through. Max Bird's asking if I'm commentating in real life on the minis this year. That is the plan. Second year of my 2-year contract with ITV. Well, I've been doing ITV for like 16, 17 years now. Last year was the first year I actually had a contract, which was a bonus, and a 2-year one, which gave us the sort of security for this year. So yes, very much looking forward to working on Minis, Ginettas, and F4 as well for this year, and all of them absolutely superb championships. I'm going to do our best over the year to try and build up the drivers that are in there. We all know about the touring car drivers. We all know about the Matt Neils and the Platos and people like that. So one of the key things for me is trying to bring a little bit of personality from some of the drivers in support championships across to our wonderful viewers over the course of the season. So really looking forward to that one. Dan Gower said, why did Alfie get a penalty? That would have been in the judicials from the last round. I can't comment on individual ones, Dan, but maybe we'll try and get. I'll tell you what, if we had Andy Ringland talking about every penalty, we'd probably be here all day. But it could have been track limits. It could have been. I think Alfie was maybe it might have been to do with the leaders coming through at Knockhill, because he had an incident and was a little bit further back. It might have been related to that, but we'd have to check out the official paperwork for that. But all these things are reviewed, Dan, and looked at. And we don't always agree with the clerk, of course, did you? When we were talking in the week, you were saying that you've actually seen Andy Ringland. in the clerk's office or outside?
Yeah, there are some stories. I think his team bullies him a little bit for that. But yeah, I've raced.
Oh, Alfie's was blue flags. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, so ignoring blue flags. Okay, so it's difficult to see a blue flag, isn't it, on for the as a driver? I don't know if you get something that pops up.
Well, sometimes the flags are on the outside of the circuit, and the marshals are waving it, obviously. But you're looking to the apex of the corner, so sometimes they are easily missable. But yeah, just got to try and keep aware, I guess. But yeah.
Alfie Glennie had his best result in race 2 at Knockhill, so responded extremely well, 21st place. He's edging up towards the points, the Graves Motorsport driver, which is running well. Luke Kidsley is the man on screen at the moment, the Lux Motorsport 08, a race winner in previous series, best result this year, 13th, best qualifying of 12th position for him. At the moment, Mike Epps is the comeback kid in terms of qualifying pace. It was let down last week at Knockhill with a 6th position, but other than that, it's done 3 firsts and a 3rd in qualifying. So Luke Kidsley well up inside the points potentially, which is good to see. Epps, McIntyre, Smith. Dave Marshall, I think, Lydia, we probably need to keep an eye on, because in the last couple of rounds he's been banging in quick laps at last knockings. He's got 4 minutes and 51 to move up from P4 onto another provisional pole and maybe extend that championship lead.
I was just about to say, I think this is going to be a last lap sort of situation. I think we'll see him move up on the last lap. He seems to be sort of leaving his laps a little bit. Well, he's in 4th position, so if he didn't improve anymore, that's not at the end of the world. But he seems to be leaving it to the last minute, which I guess takes everyone by surprise.
Yeah, very much unlike what he did last year, which was banging the quick lap straight away. Max Coates into 8th place. We had a quick chat with Max, obviously off air before we went live this morning, and said that, come on Max, we don't want to comeback drive this weekend, we want to see up the front by right in both races. And I was absolutely stunned that we haven't seen Max on the podium yet so far this year. Best result of 4th place, race 2 at Alton Park in the 71 machine. The High Road Motorsport entered the real world driver, 6th in the championship, so he's had a good consistent campaign as Max. Not easy by any stretch of the imagination to maintain or even get to 6th place in the championship, but we definitely need to see him on the podium. This guy I think we're going to see on the top step at some point, and 2 second places thus far. Robbie Stapleford, I think the youngest driver in our championship, the Profile Logistics car, running well, 7th place at the moment, just ahead of Max Coates. And here's Dan Zelos, another JCW driver in the Davanti Tyres eSports car, about to pop a move on Max. Max lets him go through, and Dan, a newcomer to sim racing, he only had the rig for 5 or 6 weeks before our first round, has bedded himself in very well indeed. 8th in the championship, 2 5th places, his best results, best qualifying so far, 3rd, but down in 14th in a very, very competitive field.
Absolutely, I'm surprised he's not further up the field. He's only 4 tenths adrift. Oh, he's just moved up now, so only 3 tenths adrift now. So definitely, it's not unmanageable. It's not much to gain. I guess it's such a short circuit, so everything's much more tighter. But yeah, not much to gain there.
No, he's going to work hard to try and do it. As we watch Andy Dorman, best of 13th, one of our point scorers. Still, just a fair number of drivers haven't made it into the points yet, despite trying really hard. Last year every finishing driver got points, but they tightened up on that for this year. So Dave Marshall finds himself in a little bit of traffic, which won't help his cause. One thing you'll know about Dave, yeah, he got a toe off his teammate there, didn't he? So both of these drivers incidentally are, as we've said before, coaches in virtual world and real world. And Mike, I know, I'm guessing was away in the week, because I saw the Richardson Racing boys in their F4 and Janetta Junior guys away and doing some testing. It's nice to see people out testing again, as we are elite sport, people able to do it. And it's quite funny on social media, because you see people sort of posting pictures, and then you get all of their friends saying, oh, if I'd have known I'd have come along to the track, and then everyone has to say, no, you're not allowed in, it's only the teams, because it is elite sport. I must admit, I would have loved to have gone and got some fresh air at Brands in the week where people were, but I'm sticking to the rules. I'm not going to do it until I'm able, to go along and do it for real, for work. There is Alfie Glennie, Sorry, Lydia. Cut
No,
across you there.
no worries. I was just going to say we've really missed the spectators this year and the real world racing, so it is such a shame. I'm looking forward to when all the doors can open again and everyone can go back to the circuits. I'm sure everyone's missing it at home.
It's absolutely right. The social thing is the biggest thing, isn't it, about racing? It's the people that are so good. There's Kenny Press in the High Road Motorsport Treble 8 car. Good to see Kenny. He's 24th at the moment. Again, another driver working towards trying to get up towards those points scoring positions. And Kenny banging in another lap. He's dicing for 22nd at the moment with Alfie Glennie and Tom O'Farrell. But yeah, it is very much the social thing for me. If you didn't like the people in the racing, you wouldn't go. And it's the same with any sport. I'm particularly at a loss at the moment because we've got no non-league football. I'm a big non-league football fan as well. I haven't had a chance to go to a non-league football match now for the best part of a year. And that's one of the things I think they could run non-league football. You know, local footballers don't have to use changing rooms. They can turn up in the kit, have a game of football on the park, and go home without going indoors and breathing everybody's oxygen. But you know, they'll let the Premiership and all this lot go on. It's all about money, of course, which is the main thing. But you know, I really miss the people in football and the people in the paddock. It's just been such a strain, and everyone's going to go bonkers, aren't they, once we're allowed back out?
I know, I can't wait for it. It's a bit demoralising walking around a race circuit and there's no one there. So I'm just looking forward to everyone being allowed back in. Can't wait.
That's going to be good. Checkered flag out on qualifying. Martin Mark Bishop says hello from the Accelerate staff. Good to him. Coatsy on a little bit of a run and goes up into P2. Great qualifying for Max Coates, but it's Epps on provisional pole. Max Coates in P2, Dave Marshall made it up into P3. We're going to have an absolute humdinger off the start with those three, and Jack McIntyre in P4, Isaac Smith in 5th. Great qualifying from Isaac Smith, only one away from his best of 4th position previously. So great stuff for him. Isaac Smith holds the real-life lap record. Go, Isaac! That comes from his bum. And Peter Graves says, good luck, Alfie Glennie. Great to hear Lydia Walmsley racing on the comms. It certainly is. Thank you, Lydia, for joining us. And best wishes from Graves Motorsport.
Aw, thank you.
Carl Walker says, go on, Max. Well done. Right, I need to go to my little timing screen to get me top 10 ready for my grid. So Mike Epps on pole position. And apparently he's already hot shoed it to Park Ferme. So Mike Epps, after a little bit of a glitch last week, Mr. Epps, you're back on pole position. The pole meister is back, Mike Epps. Well done.
Yeah, that went really well. Me and Dave have been working on towing practice and stuff. So a lot of real life techniques coming out here, and it's paid off today. And we managed to get him up there as well because we were struggling for the last bit. But yeah, glad it went well for us as a team, and see how the race goes now.
Okay, and in the week we were talking about, I know you coached for Richardson. Have you been out with F4 and juniors in the week, or one or t'other?
Yeah, I have actually. So I've been with it's a new driver management company called School of Send, or SOS, and we're working with JHR and a kid called Matt Rees. He went quickest of the cars out there in the midweek test, and about half a second off what was a more or less front-running pole time last year. So really pleased to be working with a few young lads and getting them up the grids. It's funny, I've actually applied some of the stuff that I've taken from all this sim racing, like the data approach and a lot of other things, and just tested it in terms of approaching some of the stuff I'm doing in real life with coaching. And it's interesting to see what kind of advantages and what kind of knowledge I can gain from all of this. So yeah, it's been pretty good. And I'm out next week at Thruxton and Snet, and back on the, as we said earlier in the season, back on the real life calendar. So now Dave's got a bit more time to test. Now catch up on the Friday.
Yeah, drivers' excuses are coming out now, aren't they, Mike? What about last week? Frustrating for you at Knock Hill, and lost a few points, but clearly back hasn't affected you, and you're back with us this week.
Yeah, Robbie Stapleford got some weird slowdown penalty, and I think it caused him to bunch up the rest of the pack, and then it just caused a bit of a concertina effect. I ended up spat off, so I had to gain back to 7th, but it's all about clawing points where you can, and if I can get some back today, then it's all good.
Very good. Good luck for the race, Mike. Mike Epps, our pole position driver, 4th pole position out of 6 rounds. Incredible performance in qualifying from Mike Epps. Really, really good stuff in the 10-10 coaching machine. I'll just run through the grid such as it is, the top 10 in qualifying. Mike Epps and Max Coates on the front row of the grid. So good stuff from Max Coates. And then Dave Marshall and Jack McIntyre on row 2. Isaac Smith and Matt Richards on the 3rd row, followed by Jordan Brennan back on row 4 with Robbie Stapleford, and then Rob Butler and Max Evans. So Luke Kidsley 11th, so we might be in or around the bubble for the reverse grid pole. And Luke's been a little bit of a reverse grid expert, certainly in previous series, and could well relish the chance to, if he can't get further up into the top 10, to have a nibble away at getting a pole and a go for pole position for race 2. As we look at the cars on the grid, getting ready for our first of 2 races as ever. And this an iconic shot that you see at Silverstone. Mike Epps it is on the outside, which is pole position, giving him this sweep as they go around into Copse Corner, the first turn here, where they're going to have to be a little bit careful around about track limits, because you inevitably see loads of cars disappearing off over the lines. So it's Epps and Coates, Marshall and McIntyre in behind, and I think we're going to be in for a cracking 20-minute race. 2 cracking 20 minutes race, 40 seconds to go. Lydia, update on the prediction. Do we think Marshall from P3?
Well, I mean, it's really difficult to call, isn't it? It's 3 really top drivers in the top 3. So I'm still sticking with my Dave Marshall. I think he'll take the win, but I think it's going to be close. It's going to be exciting to watch.
As always, it will be. So Epps and Coates on the front row of the grid as we look down from our drone shot as well. Marshall, the championship leader, by 11 points coming to Silverstone from Mike Epps. The light sequence is underway. 4 on now. There is the 5th light. Out go the lights, and we are Mini Challenge eSeries racing here at Silverstone, and it's Epps that's going to try and lead around the outside line of Max Coates as they go into Copse Corner. He does it. Coates coming under pressure from Dave Marshall. Marshall on the outside line, the Primex Cirrus car of Max Coates on the inside. Jack McIntyre is next up, but Epps made a really good start there. Now we've got McIntyre challenging and having a good go. So too is Dave Marshall looking up on the inside line. So Max Coates getting defensive here. Max will be pleased with qualifying. He would have desperately wanted a pole. Are we going to get a first podium of the season for Max Coates? Do hope that's not the curse of the commentator. Here they come though, down the straight in towards the Brooklands left-hander for the first time. Riding on board with Juggy Bear Jordan Brennan, 6th position. Again, a driver well capable of winning, well capable of taking podia. And they've negotiated that all pretty well. I don't think we're going to have a safety car. I've not seen any bumping and boring further back. Again, terrific drone shot as they come out of that final turn and cross the line. Isaac Smith on the outside line there of Jordan Brennan side by side. Nice tidy start by Mike Epps and a good tidy opening lap, Lydia.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a really clean opening lap. Usually you've got some sort of drama going on, but there didn't seem to be any or not too much contact, not that I could see. So yeah, bad to not have the safety car out on the lap 1. That's never what you want.
Now, Rich Hayden, the race director, did read the Riot Act. He came and spoke to us before the start of proceedings today and said that he had gone through that, you know, remember, we're trying to run this as closely to real world as possible. So, you know, very, very keen that we don't get drivers being taken out. Great inset shot of Matt Richards working hard there in 6th position at the moment in the 44 car, chasing Jordan Brennan, putting Jordan under pressure. Robbie Stapleford behind him. Then Isaac Smith, the lap record holder here in the real world, as you heard. Well, Bishop says that, yeah, the fans are going to go bananas for tickets when we can go back. And Arthur Bell says, Simon, the People's Champion Reed. Go Reedy. Where is Reedy at the moment? 17th place. Not far away from the points here at the moment. He's Tugger Reed. Epps still out front, though, from Dave Marshall. Max Coates is next up. And on the outside line, it's Jack McIntyre looking on the inside in the blue Zancho Simsport car, having a go. Epps getting away. Now here we come with 2nd, 3rd and 4th, all pretty close together. McIntyre's got the inside line there. So Max Coates just edged off a potential podium. Jordan Brennan 5th, Matt Richards next up from Isaac Smith. Then Robbie Stapleford. Max Edmondson in 9th. Rob Butler in 10th place from Dan Zelos, then Josh Martin, Luke Kinsley and Ryan Elliott. Wherever you look, all of those guys are potential podium drivers.
Absolutely. I mean, the battle for P2 is allowing Mike Epps to get away. He's already pulled a 1.3 second gap. I think the defending is certainly not helping their cause for trying to stay with the leader. I'm sure Dave Marshall is now going to be on his charge to try and catch the leader up, but he's already pulled a 1.4 second gap now, so yeah, got some work to do.
Yeah, Dave Marshall will want to grab another win. He won't want to let Mike Epps get away. Teammates, of course, helping each other out during qualifying with the tow, as you heard. And race-wise, they both want the win. I did mean to ask whether there was a little bit of team racing between the two last week. You can see a leisurely pass between one of the others. Look at this great shot as well. The detail that goes into the graphics and gaming is absolutely superb. It really is. There's Simon Reed, People's Champion, having a good race there with Luke Kidsley. Nobody behind him. Liam Lambert, actually, the chaser in the black car with the yellow trim, trying to close down the lead. Scotty's mirrors full of Jack Nolan and Tom O'Farrell, the would-be far-travelling Scot from the island of Islay, 20th position at the moment, ahead of Kenny Press and Alfie Glennie, 22nd. Damien Hall back in 23rd at the moment, but Epps still out front from Dave Marshall in P2, 1.5 seconds the gap now. Marshall looking to try and break the tow from Jack McIntyre, and Max Coates in 4th place with Matt Richards right behind him. Jordan Brennan down in 6. I say down, I should say up in 6 really, because to be up at the sharp end is a good call. There's the Rinks Liquimolly logo chasing hard here, and about to have a go at Matt Richards and see whether he can just find a little bit of space. The other thing, Lydia, I mean, whether it's Coopers or JCWs, these cars are incredibly evenly matched, aren't they, in the real world?
Absolutely, it's very much down to setup and driver ability. Really, it's not there's not really much difference between the cars, which is it's fantastic, and it makes great racing. It's great to see that the driver ability and the way they work with the team is what gets them to the top, which is fab.
Yeah, any advantage is very, very hard earned, isn't it, in terms of setup or personal work that you put in round after round, race after race. Epps the leader though, 1.7 seconds clear of Dave Marshall, getting away from Dave at the moment. Championship wise, only going to put it back 3 points. He gets the point for pole position, so the championship lead 10 points now for Dave Marshall. Dave not overly concerned, he says, with the overall championship, although there is some kudos that goes with that, and will be after that drive in the Cooper Championship for this year. I hope that he can pull some backing together to do a few more rounds as well, maybe go for the full campaign. Isaac Smith, here we go with the 1-2-3 car, 6th place, chasing Jordan Brennan at the moment. So down the straight, he's going to be ideally looking up a move on the inside line. Too far back to do anything at the moment. Marv Bishop says Thruxton will be a great opener for the Coopers. What a weekend it was in 2020. Thruxton, great experience for you, Lydia?
Yeah, absolutely. It was one of my favourite circuits to visit. I'd never visited there before, and it was just literally like NASCAR racing, 2x2, 3x3. It was minis everywhere. It was a mini mayhem going into the final chicane, but fantastic to competing. I've never had an experience like it. It was phenomenal. I'll never forget it.
Coopers is a really good entry. Isaac just getting a little bit of a Mr. Whitley on there in the Cool Energy car. But, you know, again, like the JCW, so close, and we had so many drivers capable of being up on the podium and taking wins in that. And it is a great feeder, isn't it, to learn your racecraft? It
really is. And, you know, an experience like Thruxton where I think something like 7 cars led one race in one race. I mean, how often do you hear that happening? And, you know, the driver that was leading the race on one lap didn't finish the lap first. They finished it about 6th or 7th, which that's just brilliant, and it allows you to learn racecraft and learn overtaking procedures and things like that. It was just brilliant.
We can't wait to see those cars back. Dan Zelos in the mix with Josh Martin there. Zelos 11th place, trying to hunt down Rob Butler, who's immediately in front. Josh Martin ahead of Ryan Elliott. We used to see Ryan, of course, last season battling it out for podiums and wins and being a terrific battler, and he's got the likes of Josh Hislop down behind him, and Luke Kidsley, who's a front runner in whatever he does in 15th, the last point scoring position at the moment. So Dan Zelos working hard. Meanwhile, looking back at the 37 car on the inset, Jack McIntyre running in third place. Max Coates trying to get back on terms with him. Rob Butler coming under pressure from Dan Zelos now as well. Surprised not to have seen Dan up on the podium so far, but so competitive is this championship. The Ducati Esports car working hard, but he's getting a bit of a workout from Josh Martin as well as they come through into the complex again. Dan, of course, signed up. I think already made the announcement. It's going to be back with us for this season in the real world. Looking to, at some stage, move up into touring cars. I'm guessing, Lydia, touring cars your ultimate ambition?
Absolutely, it's always been a dream of mine, so fingers crossed that something amazing happens and I can keep trying to climb that ladder. I think it's the pinnacle of British motorsport, personally, in my opinion, so definitely that's the aim. And if I were to make it there, I would definitely say dream come true, something that I've dreamed of for so long. So yeah, that's definitely the aim.
It's just such a buzz, you know, when you're at the track and the cars are on the grid. For me, the biggest is usually that first race of the season when you've got that full grid, all the expectation about to be unleashed on the circuit, the noise and the atmosphere. Even last year without any punters there, that was disappointing not having the public there, but still that expectation was there, and the noise and the excitement. Absolutely incredible thing to be a part of.
It is the whole atmosphere, and you can even feel it when you're sat on your sofa at home. You can feel it through the TV. It's phenomenal, and to be part of those race weekends and to actually be there and see a touring car drive by, I was like, oh my goodness, it's a touring car. So yeah, no, it's a fantastic race weekend and great to be a part of.
We've got Plato back this year as well, which we're all looking forward to. It's going to be a mega championship once again. We're on board with Max Edmondson chasing Matt Richards. They go around through Copse Corner, then into Maggots and down towards Beckett's. So this is the Maggots, the little flick to the left, and then this seemingly never-ending right-hander to bring them onto the back straight. Where the second commentary box is on the national circuit for the circuit commentators. So good place to watch the racing, and usually the scene of a few passes. So we're coming down the straight under the bridge. Max Edmondson working hard here, 9th position at the moment. He's got a little bit of a gap over Rob Butler, who is in 10th position. Mark Bishop's got to disappear, that's a shame. And it says Lydia's doing a great job, awesome job of commentary. Well done, Martin, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Have a great day. And it's Epps now 2.051 seconds clear of Dave Marshall. Marshall under a bit of pressure from Jack Mack. This is the battle for P2. And you've got to say that Jack Mack's got a bit of breathing space. Max Coates is still behind him. But Dave Marshall here in the unusual position of having a little bit of pressure. And this is all about that top prize in the sim category, Lydia. Let's see what the 37 car can do. No, we're going to go back because Max Coates is side by side with Juggy there. Jordan Brennan having a go in the Liquid Molly car. We've got a battle on to second place, a battle on for 4th position as well. Brennan comes out from the slipstream, has a look here, but is it the wrong side of the track as they come down into the complex?
Well, you can get the inside into the next corner, so it's not always a disaster to be on the outside into this corner, because you can try and get on the inside. He hasn't quite managed it here, but you might be able to get the switch back.
Isaac Smith ready to pick up the pieces as well. You can see as they battle hard, bringing Isaac Smith. Isaac quick in his own right. He doesn't need two battling cars to slow each other up. He's quick enough to catch them anyway. He's right on the tail of them. The battle for 4th place. And Max Coates, as we know, is capable of soaking up race pressure. He's doing that for Jordan Brennan at the moment. This is good stuff from Brennan. Isaac Smith in 6th, Robbie Stapleton in 7th, and Matt Richards. Marshall McIntyre still involved in their battle, which you can see on the inset. Great direction from Mike Yao, just showing this at the moment. McIntyre hoping, I think, for a Marshall mistake. That's going to be an absolute rarity as they hammer their way along the straight. Marshall's got the line into Brooklands covered, so McIntyre goes to the outside line as we look at the inset, and he's going to try and maybe get a run through the exit of the complex, but Marshall under some big pressure there. It's a job to know where to look, isn't it, for these top 6?
Well, Isaac just did a fab move for P5 there, up the inside, so yeah, that was a brilliant move, and he's now on the attack for P4 there, so yeah, very exciting.
Nicely cool, thanks Lydia. So Isaac Smith up into 5th position. Jack McIntyre still is there in 3rd place. I'm tempted to go away and look at the timing screen. Who's got the fastest lap, but I don't want to miss anything. We missed out last week. I made the mistake of doing that. Missed the lead change. I was looking at the separate timing screen, but Marshall and McIntyre away. X is the leader, 2.25 seconds clear. Great battle for P2, and now Isaac Smith closing down on Max Coates. The two Yorkshiremen having a. What is it about Yorkshire? I mean, you're a Suffolk lass, aren't you? But
Yeah.
Yorkshire seems to have so many great sportsmen, and in motorsport as well.
Maybe it's the water they drink.
It could well be. It's the Yorkshire tea.
Yeah. I think that's it.
We all love a bit of Yorkshire tea. All free samples gratefully received. I know many of the drivers have tried tapping up Yorkshire tea to try and get sponsorship and branding, and it will be a good move for any company to get the live TV coverage, for sure.
Yeah, I'm welcome to donations. I'm open to donations. Send them my way.
I think, there you go, Lydia. It's your strapline for next year. We'll get a tea company with Yorkshire tea lass on the track.
Yeah, that would be fab. I love tea, so that would do well.
So we're still watching this super scrap for third position. We're around about 3/4 of the way through this first race. Arthur Bell says Yorkshire pie in a bat, maybe. That sounds a little bit too on top of the calories for me, actually, Yorkshire pie in a bat. But interesting one, Arthur Bell. Thank you for joining us and for your comment. As Robbie Stapleford has a look here at Matt Richards. So Stapleford looking to climb a little bit further up. Max Edmondson still working hard in the number 4 car. Dan Sealos behind them. Now up ahead of Rob Butler. Who's going to be on provisional pole? It's Josh Martin at the moment with provisional pole for race 2. Rob Butler in 11th will be on alongside him for our partial reverse grid. And the points at the moment, Andy Dorman is in the points again. He's 15th place at the moment. Ryan Elliott just ahead of him. Simon Reed just 1 place away from the points at the moment, being landed at 17th. So those guys looking to try and get some points on the board. So Epps now 2.2 seconds clear of Marshall and McIntyre. We're watching the battle of 7th and 8th place, Matt Richards and Robbie Stapleford. Stapleford in the orange and black 24 car having a good go. I must admit, I don't know what Robbie's going to be doing this year, whether he's going to be, I think, being the youngest driver. The most we can expect out of him is probably Ginetta Juniors or Junior Saloons. Or Fiesta Juniors indeed, because we have a third option, don't we, of Fiesta Juniors in terms of youngsters championships as well.
Yeah, so many options, and there's so many routes now into the different disciplines of motorsport. So yeah, I would imagine that he'll want to be on the Toka package with the Ginettas, but there are so many options, and junior racing at the moment is so tight and competitive that you can learn so much, and it's a fantastic feed you into the senior series.
And they're all good, aren't they? You know, I know you raced in Junior Saloons, which is a super championship, great people. The Fiesta Junior Championship I covered for a few seasons, VRRC's Championship, which is a great competition as well, and brought some super drivers in, and then of course Ginetta Juniors as well, that we see battling hard. And they're differing budgets, but again, terrific people and great racing. Whichever one you go into, it's a good launch pad.
You honestly learn so much. I mean, I like you said, I did the Saxo, so I learned front wheel drive, which was brilliant for these minis, and it's just great because it's close racing, but the cars aren't too expensive. You can just go to the scrapyard and pick up bits that need replacing, so it's not too hard on the budget, which is always good when you're trying to learn what you're doing and get to grips of racing a car. I mean, at 14 you're obviously not driving on the road yet, so you need to learn actually the discipline of driving the car, let alone racing it and the racecraft that comes along with it. So yeah, junior racing is definitely so competitive and a great platform to learn on.
I've never asked anybody who's moved up from juniors before, but do you just breeze the driving test once you get to 17 after 3 years driving a car around the track?
I told my driving instructor that I race cars, and he didn't really want to get in the car with me, but I was so relaxed. I think I got a minor for going too slow on my driving test, which is a little bit embarrassing, but yeah, I think I took it to the other extreme and didn't want to be the typical driving fast on the road. I went to the other extreme and was too slow, but I still passed first time. But yeah, I did pass pretty quickly, which was good.
That's good. We won't go into how many times it took me. It was twice for me.
Oh,
but
dear.
I didn't have the luxury of racing a car when I was younger, or actually driving it. Talking quite a few years ago now, but we won't go on to the age thing.
No, you're still young, Richard.
Oh, you're far too kind. Far too kind. Isaac Smith, 5th place, still trying to chase down. Max Coates has got a little bit of breathing space here, but Isaac's got Jordan Brennan right behind him. Jordan in 6th place. Juggy Bear's trying to close in on him. Let's see whether he can put the pressure back on and reclaim that 5th position. Still Marshall and McIntyre, your top 3 at the moment. Josh Martin still on provisional pole. Luke Hinsley's got the last point now, 15th place. Simon Reed in 16th from Liam Lambert, then Tom O'Farrell. Craig Timmins 25th, Jack Davidson ahead of him. Alfie Glennie 23rd, having a good dice and still hunting the mustard and sort of learning his trade in its ride on board with Robbie Staple, but trying to chase down Matt Richards once again. Let's see if we're going to get a pass here as they come down the straight under the bridge. Alfie Glennie, we're told, passed his test 3 weeks after his 17th birthday in December. Well done, Alfie. Alfie very quick in the VRRC Junior Fiesta Championship as well. One of the last guys I commentated on in that racing and did a good job in that championship. There is the Bajan policeman, Copper Piston, having a go in 246. Josh Hislop busy challenging him as well. Josh, another driver who came through the Fiestas and all over the back at the moment. Damien Hall with a massive following, puts loads of pictures and onboard videos up for us to watch over the course of the week as well. Running in 20th position at the moment, chasing down Jack Noller, but fending off Josh Hislop at the moment for that 20th position. So let's have a quick look at the times. Best lap 101.848. Looks like Epps has got the fastest lap point in the bag as well, so we'll pull another potentially another 4 points on the overall championship lead. It's not going to make any difference prize wise, but kudos, he's going to be closing down on Dave Marshall. We've only got 2 more weekends remaining after today. Silverstone International course next week. Richard's trying to close down on Smith. Jordan Brennan now back up into 5th place, so good stuff for Jordan Brennan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Mike has pretty much got this sealed now, though, hasn't he? He's pulled a gap of 2.2 seconds, and with only 10 seconds to go plus a lap, I think he's been pretty dominant. It's been lights to flag victory for him. So, well, yeah, well done to him. It's been brilliant.
Jacqueline Johnson says, this is a perfect Saturday morning. I agree with that. It's a great way to get us back doing things. Kay Baker says, only the best drivers pass second time. Thanks, Kay. Love you lots. And so Epps and Marshall still out front. Epps, I think, is probably taking things a little bit easier now. So Dave Marshall looking back, still with Jack McIntyre, giving him a good workout. McIntyre goes wide here. He's trying to get that run. Is he going to try and make it stick to the inside line? He is. Doesn't quite work. Dave Marshall's time on the sim obviously paying big dividends at the moment. Max Coates still back in 4th. Let's see whether we can get a Coates renaissance towards the end of the race and maybe climb up and have a go at getting up onto the podium. Brennan 5th, Isaac Smith 6th, Matt Richards 7th, Robbie Stapleford, Max Edmondson, Rob Butler. Bit of a change round going on there as Isaac Smith dropping down the order. I did wonder whether Isaac was heading into virtual pit lane, whether he's picked up a problem. He's dropped to 12th now.
I saw that.
Drive through for track limits. Okay, thanks for that, Mike. So Isaac will be gutted about that. We are too. So Brennan 5th, Matt Richards now in 6th position. And it'll be damage limitation for Isaac Smith, which is a pity. He's going to be well down the grid, but one to keep an eye on for race 2, a potential charge through the grid as we watch Jack McIntyre. Still giving Dave Marshall a workout here, and again comes out of the slipstream, and he's going to try and dislodge him. He's again going for that very, very wide line, but I think Marshall knows that he's going to hang on to it. The 1010's car still there at the moment. There is the race leader though, Mike Epps out front, 2.4 seconds clear. And he's going to be happy looking in the virtual rear mirror to see nobody behind him and on his way to another win.
It's such a dominant victory that lights the flag. It can't get better, can it?
No, look at that. A little bit of show badging as well from Mike Epps. Congratulations to him. Dave Marshall in 2nd place from Jack McIntyre. Max Coates 4th from Jordan Brennan. Matt Richards next from Robbie Stapleford and Max Edmondson. Rob Butler 9th, Dan Zelos, Josh Martin 11th in the end, so it's Ryan Elliott who gets the pole, and be good to see Ryan battling out for a potential podium from the reverse grid. Luke Kisley 13th from Andy Dorman. Simon Reed gets a point as well. Well done, Simon Reed. First point of the season, I think, for Simon in 15th place. So, Lydia, thoughts on driver of the race for that one?
Well, I think it's got to be Mike Epps, hasn't it? I mean, he was so dominant. You know, it just doesn't get better than that. He lights the flag, and you know, I mean, he showed everyone the way round, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Let's go down onto our virtual podium, and we'll say well done to third position and harrying the second place in both Marshall all the way, Jack Mack.
Thank you. Yeah, that was. I think that was more like a game of chess rather than a car race, but yeah, good result. I think I had a few chances there at the end, and I think I'd lined it up quite well. But then the move on the last lap was kind of the one I'd banked it all on, but just hit the brakes too late and washed out wide. So no, that was a good race. Some good racing by Dave as always. So yeah, still happy with it.
Yeah, you two guys very evenly matched in that.
Yeah, the pace round here it's so similar. You know, you've got people like Coates putting in ridiculous times. He was right behind me for the first half of the race, and that was stressful trying to keep behind Dave and in the draft, but ahead of Max, who I knew was trying to come through. So it's a great track for racing. It's plenty wide as well, so a good, nice, clean one.
Yeah, it's a nice track in the real world as well as the virtual world. Good to see you on the podium. Well done, Jack. Great race. Thanks for entertaining us in that one.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Let's go to the man who finished in P2. Couldn't do a lot about your teammate that one, Dave Marshall, but you were given a real workout there.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them things, isn't it? That, as Jack's already pointed out, the lap times you're talking within a tenth. It's not like, if you've got four laps left, you can just reel them in. Fair play to Mike, he drove a faultless race. It's really nice to have like a really good, solid 21 clean laps there. I don't think there was any collisions. So yeah, it was great, and as Jack said, it was very much like chess. Just calculating what the driver behind's going to do. But fair play to Jack. I know sort of Jack's sort of driving style, and he wasn't going to risk putting a move on that would then put us back into Courty. So yeah, Courty's definitely got some waft around here.
Yeah, it's nice to see him back on the pace, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's been quick in practice. He's come into the race. It was a fair start. I held it around the outside. Just to sort of make sure there was no collision. I ran it a little bit wide, but that allowed Jack Mack through. And then I think it was on the next corner, managed just to get the undercut back on him and held it around the outside. So, yeah, it's definitely going to make the reverse race very interesting.
Yeah, the next race is going to be fascinating as well. Well done. Thanks for a great race between yourself and Jack Mack. Dave Marshall, the championship leader still, of course. So P2 for Dave Marshall. Let's go to the man who took pole position. So we did speak to him earlier on, but converting pole position to a great start in a super race and the Waters driver of the race, Mike Epps. Well done, Michael.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, all going to plan today. Pole, win, fastest lap. Like all the point scoring is happening, so I don't know what happened, but I clearly woke up on the right side of bed this morning, so I'll take it and we'll see what we can do now.
Yeah, what was for breakfast this morning?
Bacon roll, always something like that. It's always some sort of bread with some sort of bacon in between it. That is like my morning ritual. A lot of very serious racing drivers will probably be tutting at that, but I think it's fair to say everyone loves a bit of bacon in the morning. So
it's just making the thought of racetracks, seem even further away now, because that is the racetrack start to the day, isn't it? Bacon roll.
It's the Silverstone Cafe breakfast, mate. You know what it's about.
Red or brown sauce, mate?
Always ketchup. Sometimes I'll mix it up and go for barbecue, but to be honest, ketchup all the way. Red sauce, mate. If I can have a full English, I would, but I'm at home and I can't be bothered. So
all the key questions are covered, aren't they, on our broadcast here? So inevitably, race 2, 12th position start. What's your prediction? How far can you get up the grid?
I think I'm going to go on quite an aggressive approach. Because you can get a really good run up to Brooklands, and we did some test racing yesterday, and there was a lot of action, lot of cars very wide. So I think looking at the guys ahead, I'll sort of try and get one up on them quite early. If I can't, then sit in their draft and strike when necessary. But I'm feeling fairly confident, to be honest. We'll see how it goes.
Seemed like really good driving standards, and Rich Hayden said that he'd read the Riot Act. So do you think that makes a difference with everybody?
Yeah, I'd say it was. Yeah, not bad at all. Everyone's sort of calmed down a bit this year now, so we'll see how it goes. But 40 seconds on the clock, so I better get myself ready so I don't miss it.
Yes, that's Mike Epps saying, "Go away, Richard." Well done, Mike Epps.
Cheers, mate. Always a pleasure.
Well done. Always a pleasure for us too. So pole position is Ryan Elliott with Josh Martin for the second race. finishing in 12th and 11th respectively in the previous one. Dan Zelos and Rob Butler on row 2, Robbie Stapleford and Max Edmondson on the 3rd row. Then it's Juggy Bear, Jordan Brennan and Matt Richards, followed by Jack McIntyre, Max Coates. Epps and Marshall are next up. The lights are already underway, so we're very neatly into race 2. Out go the lights. Let's see whether it's going to be Martin or Elliott that are going to get away and take an early lead here. Ryan Elliott, we know, a great defender, so he's going for it. Dan Zelos in the mix as well, running in P3 as they go through Cops Corner for the first time, down towards Baggett's and up towards Beckett's on this first lap. The Devanti car coming under pressure from Max Edmondson, and they're all clearing Beckett's for the first time. This is always a little bit of a worrying moment in the real world. Beckett's when things are very, very tight and evenly matched and bunched, but they've all behaved themselves in exemplary fashion once again. Josh Martin on the inside line as they come down the straight. Dan Zelos is going to try and look on the inside line as well in the 45 car. Nothing quite doing for him there. We ride on board with Zelos, trying to now go around the outside line of Josh Martin. It's Ryan Elliott who's out front, so Elliott the leader, Josh Martin in P2. Dan Zelos 3rd. Watch for Rob Butler trying to come up and maybe look on the inside line from 4th place. Tidy start, reverse grid. This is what mini racing's about, Lydia. That worked out quite well for everybody.
Absolutely. I didn't see any contact, which is always good. I mean, Dan Zelos had a great run through the final few corners, and I believe he's just gone in front of Josh Martin. Yeah, he has. So, yeah, I think he'll be charging down Elliott here now.
So, Ryan Elliott, remember the great defender, I think we called him at Brands Hatch. We first noticed it in that last season. Looking up the inside line is Rob Stapleford, with Rob Butler in the 74 car there as well. Matt Richards coming through. Matt Richards really flying up, isn't he? So from the 4th row on the grid, getting stuck in and heading podium bound at the moment. Dave Marshall back in 10th place. Mike Epstein in 12th. Jack McIntyre is 11th. Max Coates 9th, looking to edge up towards the podium again. Still find it unreal we haven't had a Max Coates podium so far this year. But again, just goes to show how tight things are. Max, of course, the very much a key organiser of this championship, has put so much work into it. So a big thank you to him. And Jordan Brennan on the outside line here of Dan Zelos and trying to move up a position. Jordan, always a good overtaker. One of the drivers I'd love to see get out in the real world.
Zelos had a bit of a nightmare on that last lap. He went from P2 to P7 there, or P8. He's just gone back up to P7, but yeah, had a bit of a nightmare there.
Ill, thank you for that, wasn't he?
Yeah, I jinxed him, I think.
Matt Richards working hard, 3rd position at the moment. So it's Elliott, Edmondson and Richards. Josh Martin down in 5th place at the moment. And I tell you what, it's like a convoy, isn't it? As they come out of Beckett's down the Wellington Straight and into the complex they go once again. The Norscott vending machine flying its way on the inside line now of Max Coates. The Primex car on the outside line. Dan Zelos up ahead of them. This is still very, very close indeed. Lots of side-by-side racing, lots of nose-to-tail stuff as well. But it's Ryan Elliott that will lead them across the line at the end of the second lap. Max Edmondson still in P2. Right on board with Dave Marshall, championship leader. Lead cut just a little bit in race number 1 and over qualifying. Marshall here, key thing for him is he's ahead of Mike Epps at the moment, and looking at the back end of Max Coates in the 71 car. Coates busy looking at Jordan Brennan into Maggots. Is there going to be a line here for Dave Marshall to look up the inside? One thing you won't see Dave Marshall do is an aggressive move, because he knows that he can't afford to lose championship points, as Coates now looks at the outside line of Jordan Brennan coming down the straight.
Yeah, Marshall's being very conservative here. He's just sort of sticking back and letting all the action unfold in front of him. I think he'll be capitalising on this in a second. Yeah, so I think he's letting all the drama unfold in front and just trying to pick his way through. He can't afford any dramas and dropping down to the back of the field from an incident. So, yeah, I think probably thinking about championship points more than anything. Nicely
read move there by Max Coates, wasn't it, on Jordan Brennan. Jordan just, I think, maybe a little bit deep into the corner.
Yeah, he seemed to miss his braking point a little bit, and Max just capitalised on that and took the place.
Marshall's through as well there in the 66 car, so the black and red 1010s car up ahead of Jordan Brennan. The great thing about Jordan Brennan is that he will not let that get into his head. He'll just crack on and he'll come back. He's a real fighter. He doesn't let his head drop. You see so many drivers. I see so many drivers in the real world who have a problem and the head drops. But Jordan, I've never seen that in the sim racing. He just cracks on. That's why he's won titles in sim racing.
That's always the best way to be, and if something goes wrong, you've got to instantly forget it and just try and make the best of the situation. And usually you can fight your way back as long as the car's not damaged. So yeah, that's a good attitude to have.
Good fighting attitude. We'll see what he can do here. He's 8th place at the moment. Good points to be had still. Ryan Elliott out front from Max Edmondson. There is Isaac Smith. I think he's had a little bit of a rub with Mike Epps, and of course Isaac, having had that drive through in race number 1, he's already got himself up into 12th position here. So Isaac will be keen to get into the top 10, grab a few points. Tom O'Farrell only 1 place out of the points at the moment. He's in 16th. Josh Hislop, who Kidsley ahead of him. Great to see Simon Reed picking up a point in that first race, and if he can do it again, could be on for my driver of the day. Rob Butler up into 3rd place at the moment, ahead of Matt Richards. So good stuff from Rob Butler.
Absolutely, yeah. That was a fab move up into P3. It's difficult to call who's anywhere in this race. It's just minis everywhere. It's difficult to know who's going to come out on top here. So yeah, just got to look. Oh, there's a little bit of a nudge on the back of Isaac. Oh, he's a bit in the wars, Isaac, isn't he? He's been having a bit of a hard time.
So Rob Butler still P3, Elliot Edmondson, Butler, Richards 4th, then Max Coates in 5th. Max Coates is coming through. This is stealth again from Max Coates. We tend to see it in race number 2, having a little bit more of the rub of the green here, and now looking to try and close down on Matt Richards for 4th place. Max has perhaps got the whiff of the podium in his nostrils here as he goes down through turn 1, trying to close down. Jordan Brennan and Jack McIntyre having a good race here. Jack Mack trying to claw his way up through the order as well. Dave Marshall, great progress, 6th position. He's down behind Max Coates at the moment. And we've got Epps from Stapleford going through, then Isaac Smith 11th, Josh Martin 12th, and Dan Zelos in 13th, Luke Kisley 14th, Josh Hislop. They complete the point scorers at the moment, and Tom O'Farrell 16th. So are we going to see Tom manage to bag some points here, looking to grab his first points of the year? Best finish thus far. Didn't see where he was in race 1, but 18th place all part race 1, his previous best prior to this meeting. As Coatesy getting stuck in, Matt Richards still just ahead of him. Rob Butler not far away as well. Ryan Elliott still in front now by 1.3 seconds. This is a great drive by Ryan Elliott in the Mad for Mini Motorsport car, looking to grab his first podium of the season. Because he's away ahead of everybody, we're not going to get to see too much of him here coverage wise, so he's away. Max Edmondson in P2. Max had a win, of course, the 2nd race at Alton Park. 3 other podium finishes as well for Max Edmondson, so we know that he is capable of doing that. This reverse grid scenario, Lydia, very much can give a driver confidence to do something from a position. You might not get a front position from qualifying for the outright first race, but then if you get this reverse grid, it can help build your confidence, can't it, leading a race for the first time?
Confidence is definitely the key word there. I remember my first reverse grid pole, and if you stay at the front, it gives you the confidence to know that you can do it outright, and that's what's brilliant about the reverse grid, because it pulls the drivers that maybe don't have that confidence and don't believe that they can stay at the front, and puts it right in the mix of things. And yeah, it's definitely a confidence building exercise, I guess. And I remember after my first reverse grid pole, I got my first outright podium the next weekend. So I think that's definitely a large part of that.
I think reverse grid racing has always been key for me. As Dave Marshall looks up the inside line there of Matt Richards, that's the challenge for 4th position. I know your family from a short oval racing background, and of course that's where reverse grid racing was really, that was the key seller, wasn't it, for short oval racing. The top guys always start at the back, and you build your confidence off the front. And the purists in British motor racing over the years have taken a long time to come to grips with it. Back in the day, you would not have seen a reverse grid race at Silverstone of all places, because the old boys would have looked down their nose at it big time, but they've had to accept it now. They have had to get on with it. And this year, F4, we've got a complete reverse grid in F4 coming up this year, which I applaud heartily. as long as the drivers behave themselves, I think we're in for a real treat. But in this day and age, you know, it's just right and proper.
I think it's fab, and it makes much more exciting racing, in my opinion, because it's not always the people that qualify the quickest at the front. They've got to come through the field, and yeah, it brings people to the front of the field that may not usually be there, and then, you know, gives them the confidence to do it again the next weekend. I just think it's fab, and it makes it so much more exciting to watch.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely superb. Great racing going on here. Look at this battle for third. Great aerial shot for third position. Matt Richards holding sway at the moment. Juggy Bear's having a go down the inside line. Max Coates in the mix as well. Jordan Brennan. This is what I said about Jordan. He doesn't let things get to him. He comes back and he's done it. He's got up into third place. Great driving from him, but he's got the championship leader right behind him now. And that is Dave Marshall in the black and red 66 car. Matt Richards down to fifth. He will fight back as well. So it's Elliott from Edmondson. Jordan Brennan next up. Brennan with the championship lead. This is a good drive here from Dave Marshall. Second in that first race of the day and chipping away. He is the silent assassin, perhaps more so than Jack McIntyre, on the inside line of the Liqui Moly car here, and he's putting the pressure on, Lydia.
He is. It's like a 6 or 7 car battle for this third position. It's fantastic, and you don't know who's going to come out on top. He's definitely not afraid to go around the outside either, is Brennan. So yeah, I mean, look, he's trying to hold that position there now. I'm not sure he's going to quite manage it, but yeah, anyone can come out on top here.
Dave Marshall goes through into third place. Jordan Brennan defending from Matt Richards as well now, at the same time trying to attack the 66 car. Jordan's on the inside as they come down into Brooklands. Matt Richards in the mix too. Max Coates there. Rob Butler back in 7th place as well. And Brennan on the outside line fighting hard. He's going to lose a little bit of momentum on the outside run there. Dave Marshall knows he's got the run through on the inside line, but Brennan, very exciting to watch. And just holding on to position, trying to get back to a podium, for goodness sake.
I know. He needs to be careful that the train's not going to come up the inside though when he's trying to pass for P3 here. I think very quickly he could go back to about P8, so he needs to be careful.
Yeah, this is super racing, isn't it? This is what the Mini Championship is all about. We're into the second half of our second race of the anti-penultimate meeting of the racing season here. Isaac Smith getting stuck in. He's still in 11th place. Dicing hard with Rob Stapleford. He's on the inside line. A little bit of curbing there from Mike Epps. Isaac Smith up into 10th ahead of Stapleford now. Meanwhile, back with the battle, Jordan Brennan. He's back into third position. Brennan's done it. He's got back ahead of Dave Marshall. Max Coates in the mix as well in the 71 car. So really, Elliott and Edmondson away, controlling this race very well off of their start here, Elliott and Edmondson, you've got to say.
Well, we haven't seen them at all, have we? They're so quick that they've not actually been on the screen, which is a shame. But yeah, they're just, you know, so dominant like Mike was in that last race. Yeah,
very definitely making the most of the partially reversed grid, and you know, quick enough to be up the front on their own right, race after race, as Max Coates now has got Dave Marshall. This has been, for me, one of the best races of the season that we've seen so far this year. So much place changing. Jordan Brennan, hard work gets him back ahead of the championship leader. He is in third place. Dave Marshall fourth. Max Coates in fifth. Then Rob Butler. Watch for Butler in sixth position. The nose of the 74 car trying to get in and have a look at the 71 machine of Max Coates. Then we've got Jack Mack coming up. Jack Mack now ahead of Rob Butler. You can see in the blue car just trying to get his nose in front and edge back through. Butler's on the inside line here though, side by side into Brooklands. There we go, side on with Max Coates in 71. Coatesy giving Dave Marshall a bit of a workout. And Max very definitely back on form this weekend. Good race 2 form again from him that we've seen. But this time, you know, by his own doing. Great qualifying from Max Coates and super racing too. Elliott, Edmondson and Brennan. Brennan 2 seconds down the road from Edmondson and Elliott. Is he going to be able to break clear and close down on Max Edmondson?
Well, yeah, who knows? I mean, there's only 6 minutes left on the clock, so there's not too much time to try and catch up and then make a move. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
So Ryan Elliott, it's going to be great to see Ryan Elliott back on the podium. I really hope that's not the curse of the commentators for Billy Elliott, or Rydog as he's also known as well. Arthur Bell says, Reed for the points, let's go. He's down in 17th place at the moment, and Tom O'Farrell is up in 15th place. In the points, Tom O'Farrell. Luke Kitsley 14th. That's great stuff from him. Kay Baker says shout out to Juggy as well. So Ryan Elliott working hard here he is out front. There he is in the number 2 car. Max Edmondson, though, giving him a little bit of a workout now. So Max Edmondson not that far away on the inset. What potentially could be a battle for the lead. The Man for Mini Motorsport car out front. The Rd6 Esports Racing Team car of Max Edmondson in P2. And, well, if Ryan Elliott thought he was going to have it easy, then he certainly isn't. Neither too is Dave Marshall, who is now down to 5th place because Max Coates goes through. So Dave Marshall being given a workout as well. It really is a job to know where to look at the moment. But good stuff from Ryan Elliott out front. Side by side, a little bit of contact between Marshall and Coates. They are really getting stuck in, Lydia.
They are. I mean, I must admit, I was watching the battle for the lead. Edmondson is definitely piling on the pressure now. I'm wondering if Elliott's going to make a mistake here. He's right on his tail now. He's closed that car length gap that he had. And yeah, who knows, we might have a switch for the lead here in a second.
It's looking as if it might happen, and Max Edmondson looking to back up the win he had in Alton Park Race 2. Ryan Elliott, we know, is a quick racer in his own right, and I've said many times, a very good defender as well. And this is the view from the P2 car. Max Edmondson goes high and wide, going down towards Cobb's corner. He's drawing level with him. He's almost got the overlap out of the number 2 car. Ryan Elliott having nothing there. Is it going to be a gap on the inside line? Edmondson sees the gap, goes through. There's a little bit of a punt between the two of them, a little bit of a bodywork clash. And how is this going to end up? And Edmondson goes through. He's got the lead.
Oh dear.
Edmondson through, but Ryan Elliott still chasing him, and he's on the outside line. These two side by side. Edmondson's got the advantage here of the inside line, but Elliott's still working hard as well. Down in P2 at the moment. Let's see how this pans out as they continue around their lap. They're slowing each other up. Jordan Brennan closing up. Dave Marshall's back into 4th place. Watch Juggy Bear closing in on these two because they are going to slow each other up.
Yeah, they are. Brennan is definitely closing that gap. There's not much time to do it, 3.5 minutes, but if they keep slowing each other up at this rate, it's going to be a 3-car battle for the lead.
Elliott back in front. This is super stuff from these two. Maybe a little bit too robust. I don't like the use of the word robust, but super racing between the two of them. And the significant thing is they're still on. They survived that, which is what most touring car drivers will argue is what it's all about. Edmondson being frustrated so far. P2 for him. Ryan Elliott out front. Juggy Bear's closing in. Jordan Brennan closing. Here comes Edmondson for the lead again. Has a look down the inside line. The MKM Building Supplies logo big in the mirrors of the number 2 car. Where is Brennan? Let's just look back. He's in shot.
So close.
Not quite close enough yet. He's just going to get his head down and try and close in Jordan Brennan. Had to laugh last time when we interviewed him. We said second podium of the year. He said he didn't remember the first one.
I definitely think by the final lap they'll definitely be close enough to try and challenge for that lead.
Yeah, this is super stuff, isn't it? Edmondson working hard, looks on that outside line again, and this is bringing another Liquimoly logo into things as well, isn't it? A little bit further back, Isaac Smith up to 8th now, dicing with Jack McIntyre for 7th position. There is the 1-2-3 car taking that outside line. Rob Butler down behind him, Rob Stapleford, Dan Selos in the mix as well, with that gaggle of cars all dicing hard, and it's still Elliott, but it's a 3-way battle for the lead now, Lydia.
It is, yeah. I was just watching the screen. It's you don't know who's going to come out on top. They were side by side down the start-finish straight for the lead there, and Brennan is definitely on their tail now, and it's a 3-car battle for the lead.
Yeah, Jordan Brennan 3rd place at the moment, chasing Max Edmondson. So we go down the Wellington straight. Let's see if he can find the line that he wants. He'll be looking for a little bit of momentum. Certainly, probably picked up a little bit of a toe in places around here as Elliott and Edmondson still dice for it. You can see Brennan not under any pressure, can take the wider line into the corner. He'll close up. You'll see the Northcott logo on the car in front, chops back in front of him, Max Edmondson. So Brennan, really the driver that potentially could hold all the cards here in 3rd position. 1 minute 20 to go on this. It's been a super meeting, a great antidote to last weekend's outing, a very tough physical outing that we had, as you would expect, up in rugged Knockhill last weekend. At Silverstone, the home of British Motorsport, giving us super racing here. Lydia, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's your money on from the 3?
I think it'll be Brennan. I think he's been the dark horse. He's caught up, and I think the two in front will mess themselves up, and I think they'll go wide. And I reckon Brennan will take the lead that way, personally. But
okay, it sounds like a good
there
call, and he goes through! Just as Lydia called it, through goes Brennan at top 2. Dicing hard. We've now got a 3-way battle to 2nd position, but Jordan Brennan read that well. He knew that those two guys were maybe going to come unstuck. and goes through and came through. Well read, Walmsley. Superb stuff. Great. That's exactly what we want of our driving commentator to call that. Edmondson loses third because Dave Marshall goes through. Elliott and Edmondson have had a super race so far. And it's Jordan Brennan out front. 17 seconds left on the clock. I think you're going to squeeze an extra lap out of this one. So Brennan, as we were talking when he got past earlier on in the race, doesn't like to give up. He's just worked his way through. That's why I would love to see him in a race car for real. He's a super racer. And here's Dave Marshall, who's come through, remember, from 11th on the grid, having a good look at Ryan Elliott to second place now. And if he can, try and close down on Jordan Brennan. So the clock's run out, so we will get an extra lap at the end of this one as Marshall looks on the outside line now of Ryan Elliott, who, as we know, won't give up without a fight. Marshall running wide, have to be careful of track limits. Edmondson coming up as well. Max Coates is in this mix too. 4 cars all dicing it out for P2.
Yeah, I mean, which way is it going to go, Richard? What do you think? Who's going to be on the podium?
Well, it's got to be Dave Marshall, hasn't it, to come through for a podium, because he will just sort them out and work out. He's got great racecraft as well as the technical ability of sim racing too, and he's looking on that outside line there at the moment. But Max Coates is on form today. I'm still going to, we're not stick the neck out and say Dave Marshall because you're not sticking your neck out predicting Dave Marshall to do well, but that's who I think is going to get it. Ryan Elliott though, what a defender. He's on that inside line, still running well. Max Edmondson, of course, in P2. Jordan Brennan now second clear of Max Edmondson. Marshall back in for that third. Ryan Elliott in fourth position. And this is the last lap of the race. Who's doing well in the points? Tom O'Farrell still in the points as well, which is good. So we're going to have 2 first-time point scorers here. Simon Reed and Tom O'Farrell for the first points for this year might be my selection for driver of the day, because they've been working hard, but this has been super stuff. As 3 wide, look at this, 3 wide as they come down.
Don't think it's going to work.
Oh, Max Coates.
That was close.
Coates is on for a podium. We're going to see a first podium for Max Coates. Meanwhile, Jordan Brennan is edging his way around the final turn and is going to bag a first win of the season. I'm sure he'll remember the previous podiums now, and of course he'll always remember a race win. Will Jordan Brennan, and what a race win it has been for Jordan Brennan. Juggy Bear takes the win. Second position to go to Max Edmondson, and Ryan Elliott comes through for third place. Ryan, well done. What a defensive and attacking race in the last stages of that to deny Max Coates a podium. That was probably one of the best sets of races we have had so far this year, and the competition getting keener as we get on to the end of the season. What a race, Lydia.
Absolutely. People often say that the National is a bit boring, but I think this race, or the races today, have definitely proved that wrong. It was so exciting to watch, and you couldn't predict who was going to win either, or who was going to be on the podium, which is always the best way.
No, absolutely superb stuff. Well done to the whole team. Collect your thoughts, because we're going to go down to the podium in a minute, and we need to think about a driver. I've got an idea who you're going to say for driver of the race, but incredible stuff from Jordan Brennan, who takes the win. Max Edmondson second, Ryan Elliott third from Max Coates, Dave Marshall by F6 from Isaac Smith, Jack McIntyre, Rob Butler, Dan Zelos 10th, then Josh Martin, Matt Richards, Robbie Stapleford, Luke Hidley. Tom O'Farrell completes the points finishers in 15th place. So super job from him. Remember, Simon Reed got points in race 1 as well. I'm guessing that we may well have drivers in our virtual podium already, and a lot to ask these guys, to be absolutely fair. And we'll start, as ever we do, with third position, race leader for such a long time, and what a race. Ryan Elliott, well done on that, getting the podium position back from Max Coates last knockings. Well done, fella. Are you there, Ryan? Don't forget to push the button to talk.
Yeah, sorry about that. Good to be back, Richard. Thank you very much for having us.
Always a pleasure. What a race. I know you probably get fed up with me peddling on about what a great defender you are, but I mean, you did a super job. The outright pace was there off the start of that race, and then you and Max Edmondson had a super battle which brought Jordan Brennan into the mix. Jordan managed to sneak past you, but you never gave up fighting. Super result for third place, and you know, what were your thoughts on beating Max Coates to the flag there to get onto the podium?
Well, yeah, it got a bit feisty towards the end there. Personally, I think the win should have been mine. I had it taken away from me, but that's for the stewards to decide. But, you know, I just couldn't give up. I haven't had a podium all season. It really hasn't gone my way this year. So I just had to make the most of it. You only get one chance. Missed out a knockhill from another little silly mistake from myself. So, you know, they say the first one's the hardest, and I bloody fought hard for it. So here's to a couple of more. We'll end the season on a high.
You did. It's great to see you on the podium. Well done on the first podium of the year. Long overdue, because we know that you're well capable of that. And super racing, mate. And we'll see how things pan out with the Clark Andy Ringland if indeed there are any changes to go. But thanks for entertaining us royally today, Ryan Elliott.
Thank you very much for having me.
Our pleasure, mate. Well, very well done indeed. So let's move up to P2. And driver, no stranger to the podium, and a hard-fought second position, Max Edmondson. Max, well done. How was that?
It wasn't easy. Obviously, there was quite a big battle towards like P2 backwards. My pace hasn't been strong at this track, so when I caught up to Ryan, he was defending stupidly. I don't know why he was defending so much. He was just slowing us both down. I wasn't actually going to overtake him. I was just trying to get away from the pack because people behind us were catching up. And then went round the outside of him. I think he went on the grass, and we'll see what the stewards say. But I think it was a racing incident. I didn't hit him, so.
Yeah, it was very fraught. From our point of view, I think two of the best races that we've seen so far this year. Very, very entertaining days racing here at Silverstone. It's a great course. How does it compare to the others that you race on?
It's quite smooth actually. This track is very smooth compared to all the other ones. But apart from that, it's not that much different. It's very wide, this track, so it helps out a lot.
What are your? I don't think we've had a chance to talk to you about your racing plans for this year for real. How are they coming along?
All right. Obviously, we need to get budgets together, see what we want to do, but hopefully coming together a lot.
Okay, we wish you well with that, Max. Well done, super drive, mate. P2, great to see you back on the podium. And we're at the other end of Silverstone next week, so it'll be flat and fast again. And I'm sure we'll see you on the podium next week as well. Have a good week. Max Edmondson, P2 there. And our race winner, Juggy Bear, Jordan Brennan, takes the win. First win of the season. Welcome back to the top step of the podium, Jugs.
Cheers, thank you.
Tell us about that race, because we saw you, up at the sharp end of things, dicing for a strong position earlier on. Then we saw you get sort of passed by Dave Marshall, Max Coates, but then you fought back, and it was a feature of our commentary that we were saying that you're a driver that never lets his head drop, and that was a case of point proving that you can't do that, because you came back, you caught the guys, and took a momentous win.
Yeah, it was alright, that. As soon as I got back through, I'd sit in front of your battle and behind. I was like, right, just need to get on with it here. And then I just sort of drove past everything. It all just sort of happened. It was quite good.
You have to read it. I mean, you're sounding very modest about that, but you have to read what's going on the track. I mean, how much did you think that Max and Ryan were actually going to get involved and ultimately leave a gap for you?
I'd seen the pace of them two wasn't too good, so I was like, alright, I'm catching 2 or 3 attempts a lap here and catch them by the end. And they started battling a bit more the closer I got, and I was like, right, just stick in behind them, see what happens, and thankfully they both run wide.
You're looking at Jack McIntyre as the guy ahead of you in the championship, so that's a few points closer to Jack as well now.
Yeah, that was definitely needed, but yeah, I needed that win, and we got it.
Well, many congratulations. Fine racing today. Well done, Jordan Brennan, our race winner, race 2 here on the National Circuit at Silverstone. Very well done. So, driver of the race?
Well, personally, I would say Jordan Brennan. I mean, he capitalised on the battles in front, and he caught up and he overtook. And to be fair, he didn't really have to do a lot to take the lead, but he stayed there and he didn't make a mistake. And that's what you want. Usually you'll get so immersed into a battle that you don't think about the people behind, and you're just slowing each other down. And Jordan Brennan capitalised on that and did really well. So yeah, I'd say him for the driver of the race.
And what about driver of the day?
Ooh, I don't know. I think Dave Marshall's done really well. Obviously, with the reverse grid, he was put quite far down the grid. So, and he got right up there at the end. So, yeah, probably Dave Marshall.
Very good. Karen Coates says great race. Good to have Karen watching the racing with us today. And thanks to everyone that's taken part on social media. Rich Hayden, we were chatting to you before the start of play today, and whatever you said to the guys has rubbed a bit of magic's rubbed off on them, isn't it, today?
Yeah, I'd like to think it was what I said, but these guys are great racers normally. Knockhill's just a very, very tight, difficult circuit. So, but no, it's good day of racing. I think there'll be a couple of things for us to look at, but other than that, really pleased.
And driver of the day for you, or
well,
did not put you on the spot?
No, well, I hate to do this, but I'm going to have to call out one of my drivers. So Mike Epps for me. He's been away all week. He's not put in hardly any time. He's had a new PC that he was building for the software on yesterday. So the amount of time he's put into practice this week has been limited. And then I've got to call this out. I had a bit of an open mic issue myself halfway through race 1. While he was leading the race, he's typing me a message in Discord to tell me I'm on open mic. So anybody that can put in the amount of practice that he's been able to do, building a new PC and type while he's winning a race has got to be my driver of the day.
That's just arrogant, isn't it?
While you were interviewing him for the race 1 win, I was in the general driver's lobby and I told everyone, and they were like, "That's just ridiculous."
I'm only joking, Mike, by the way. He's a great character. For me, I've got to single out again. Simon Reed got a point in race 1, and Tom O'Farrell in race 2. So, we focus on the top guys, but well done to those guys on getting first championship points this weekend, which is absolutely superb. Mike, any thoughts from Mike Yao as well on who might be driver of the race or driver of the day? Mike sometimes goes a little bit quiet when I ask him and won't give us the feedback. Jordan Brennan. Yep, Jordan Brennan. Super comeback from Jordan Brennan. And super job by Lydia Walmsley on co-comms today. Lydia, thanks ever so much for that. An absolute natural at it, if I may say.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. It's been brilliant. It's been so exciting, and yeah, just to have some form of racing is just brilliant. I can't wait to get back to the circuit, but this is a fantastic substitute and I've really enjoyed it, so thanks so much.
We have too. Super job, and I hope we get to do it again. This is the great thing about this official eSeries, is that we are going to work with different people, and without exception, everybody that we've worked with has been absolutely brilliant. An absolute joy to welcome other people to the comms box and have a bit of experience doing it. So big thank you for joining us here. We've got 2 more rounds left to go on this series. Could we have a little bit longer? I think we should have some more rounds on, don't you? Saturday's going over the next few weeks. Round 7, Silverstone International next weekend. Then we've got the Brands Hatch GP finale, round 8, on the 6th of March. So wherever you are, I hope you've had a good start to your Saturday. There is some VRRC touring car racing on with my good friend David Addison doing the commentary a little bit later on. So if you're at a bit of a loose end, then by all means join us for that as well. But from Lydia, myself, the whole team, Andy Ringland, of course, Rich Hayden, Mike Yao, who's done a super job to that team again. A big thank you for joining us and taking part on social media, and we look forward to your company again next week. Again, thank you, Lydia. Good luck with the budgets for this year, and we look forward to... I'm going to be doing an interview with you in the week, which will be available on social media I think the week after, so look forward to doing that and having a chat about racing. Look forward to your announcement that we hope you can make as soon as possible. Thanks again.
Thanks very much. Thank you, Richard.
So be well, everybody. We'll see you next week. From me, Richard Chobnell, Lydia Walmsley, the whole team here for the Virtual Reality Racing Club Mini Challenge Official eSeries. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Woo!